It's the 2K Sports pregame show.
Good evening, everybody. Ernie Johnson here with Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny the Jet Smith. Great to have you with us on 2K Sports. In this game, we'll see the Oklahoma City Thunder against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves have been staying very focused in this last stretch. They're excited about this one and will be laying it all on the line. The intensity, palpable. Two top-caliber teams facing off on the hardwood to do battle. And for Minnesota fans, after years of waiting, they finally have something to be excited about. The young Timberwolves are on the rise, Jet.
Maybe the best collection of young talent in the league. Possibly.
Could be.
Tremendous athleticism on the wings, excellent low post play, and they're an exciting team.
Hey, you know, they got a very respected head coach in Tom Thibodeau. You know, he will demand the best out of them. Nowhere to go but up, Ernie.
Yeah, well, we could go to courtside. That's another place we could go.
Is that up?
Yeah, that's where Kevin Harlan is.
It's
Well,
down,
he must
actually.
be up then.
K Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the NBA.
Welcome, everyone, to the Target Center in downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's the home of the Timberwolves, where we're broadcasting from live today. Buckle yourselves in, everybody. It's the NBA on 2K Sports. I'm Kevin Harlan alongside Greg Anthony, Doris Burke, and David Alders is our sideline reporter. And also joining us on the sidelines, the league's most valuable player in 2004, Kevin Garnett. KG, it is great to have you with us.
Kay, how you been, man? It's good to see you,
Waiting
man.
for you to sit right here next to us. That's what I've been waiting
Man,
for.
thank you for having me, man. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Can't wait to get inside your impressions of this game. It'll be a lot of fun. The Timberwolves again playing host, continuing their homestand in this one. They're one of the most dangerous teams in the NBA right now. No question, they've won 7 of their last 8.
Well, they're a team no one wants to face right now. The level they maintain during this winning streak has really been incredible.
Yeah, they're tough to beat because they can be overwhelming. They adapt to change as well, and they play with passion.
All right, let's set the floor. Courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up and ready to go. So for Oklahoma City right now, inside, it's Patterson and Adams. A dynamic tandem of Westbrook and George, the backcourt. And it's Anthony in at the small forward position. Now, here's Teague. Steven Adams unable to get his last shot to go. Towns kicks to Teague. Anthony against Wiggins. And they pick up 2.
Now, just such a high percentage look, but with Melo, it's almost just a given. Tough to stop.
Kicks it out to Gibson. Lets the 3 fly. Rebounded by Anthony. Thunder have gone 2 for 4 from the field so far today. And KG, 2 decades later, you still look the same. You don't age. You do not. Do not age.
Man, listen, I wish I could use the Beyonce. I woke up like this, but actually I woke up like this and worked out some more, and then worked out a little more to look like this.
You look terrific.
You look great too, man.
Thank you.
Man, what's the secrets, man?
I'm following you, watching your advice.
Yeah, right. You've been doing this way, man. Ken, what year is this for you, seriously?
Broadcast in the NBA, 20 years, and then 12 years with 2K.
Man, you're a beast, man. You know what I love about 2K, man? They bring the best in for the best.
You
understand, my dude? Straight
well,
up.
That's why we've got you. But Kevin, you played this game a lot, don't you?
Man,
especially when you were young.
Man, listen, man. 2K is it, bro. Hey, there's no other games out here. This is what it is. If you play basketball, if you online, nobody's playing nothing else. This is it.
Yeah.
2K is the cream of the crop. It's the gang. They know what it is. It's lit. They know what it is. Seriously, they got to do this. They know.
And that one misses.
Well, Steven Adams is a guy who understands his role. He wants to play hard-nosed defense. He wants to score at any time he's got a deep touch in the paint. Love his approach.
Offensive rebound. Kicks it out to Wiggins. Pass to Teague. They get it back. Towns. Another miss. Boy, they had their chance there, but couldn't get it to go.
Yeah, scoreless here early after their first 4 shots. They, right now, are searching for a bucket.
George dishes to Westbrook. Some solid defense from Butler.
Boy, the defense collapsing and throwing him off balance on his way to the cup.
Kevin, of all the people you've faced, who is the toughest guy for you to score against down low? Let's pick that geography. Who is the toughest to score against down there?
Listen, I know a lot of people. I've always said Rasheed Wallace. I've always said Tim Duncan. They're probably the 2 that brought a different level of play out of me. But shout out to Cliff Robinson, man. Cliff Robinson, I don't know if people know this, but Cliff Robinson, man. Cliff Robinson was one of the better defenders in the post. He was very strong. He was very long. He didn't go for any counters. He was very disciplined. He was well prepared because he was a veteran. The refs let him get away with a lot, touching and grabbing. He knew when to be physical in some positions. He knew to do what we call work early. He would meet you at the three-point line, and he would be fighting you, and you would post up probably like a step outside the three-point line. He was really good at some of his techniques and how he was able to control the post. After Cliff left the game, I watched a lot of his tape, and I took a lot of his
no kidding.
I had to, because it was so effective against me that I was able to use it against other post players on the defensive end.
I never knew that story.
Dennis Rodman was another guy I watched a lot. Akeem Olajuwon I watched a lot, because these guys were laterally very similar to my makeup. Akeem Olajuwon was long. He was able to laterally move with you. I was laterally able to move with guards, and able to laterally slide with some of the forwards and some of the more laterally gifted power forwards. And with that, able to get my feet together, being able to block shots, challenge the rim, stuff like that. Things that, if you're going to get better at something, you got to go and reach and find the great ones that did it before you and take it, and then I was able to apply it, and I did those things.
Bucket is good. Kevin, when you're talking about influences, you mentioned Chris Webber's name a lot.
Yeah, C. Webb was kind of, he and Stacey Augmon was at a time where I was trying to find myself as a player.
Search for a roadmap, maybe. You know, who do I most resemble?
Well, not only that, but just some direction. You know, at the time I was a big who had handles, and if you know anything about Southern coaches, they don't want their big handling the ball. Yeah. So you get the ball up to a guard or whatever. It wasn't until I got to Chicago to where the scouts or, people were able to see, like, wow, this big can actually handle the ball. He has handle a little bit. And then my high school coach would actually make me bring the ball up to show off or showcase.
No kidding.
I hated it. I was like,
yeah,
oh, my God.
But look at what happened,
bring the
right?
ball up.
And he knew that turning, I could handle it. I was like, oh, my God, I hated this. And he knew I would go and dunk him on. I was like, man, I don't want to shoot. He was like, no, bring the ball up. Anyways.
The Thunder shooting their second and third shots at the line right here.
Take a break. Take a break. 2 shots.
And he can't get the first one.
You know, that's an interesting point about Carmelo, one of the most prolific free throw shooters in the history of the game. Spends a lot of time at the stripe.
And he's good on the second. And we're just over 3.5 minutes into the first quarter. And Kevin, your last couple of years, you got to mentor some young players. Karl Anthony Towns comes to mind. How good do you think he can be?
Man, Cat is the next. He is what I call the next of the next. Yes, he has the pedigree. He has the work ethic. He has the IQ. Most importantly, the desire. You know, when you talk about players being better, I always like to think about if players know history. He understands history. He's been here before. If you follow him through his high school years, he's always wanted to be an anchor. He's always wanted to be a very informative person. He looks for knowledge. He seeks a lot of knowledge. He wants to know what he's up against as far as history. Who am I chasing? What's his number? How many rebounds did he get? What did he do his rookie year? That's what's driving him.
And the first one drops. You talk about Karl Anthony Towns and his willingness to learn. You can't be great, I don't think, Kev, if you're not curious. And I always thought that was one of your best qualities. You were always curious.
Listen, I was super curious, and I always chased that curiosity. Not only that, I started to put the work ethic with that. If you don't put those things together, well, I would always tell him, be humble. Don't ever get to the point where your arrogance, starts to take over. Let your arrogance be on the court and what you're doing and how you're playing. Control your breathing. The young fella has a lot of good bones. I love his makeup. I love the fact that I had a year with him to teach him perspective, to teach him mentality, to teach him that you got to come in here and work on this every day. And the day that you don't, someone has advantage. He pushes himself. Karl Anthony Towns he's from the pedigree, man. He's one of them ones. I like to think that he's under the umbrella. He's one of my young brothers, man.
Higgins outside. Teague with the ball. Now Anthony defending. Back to Teague. Gibson the screen. Adams, some nice D.
And it's not easy to get those stops at the rim, but he does a great job with it.
Yeah, he can make it look simple on the interior when it's really not. He knew exactly how to guard on the inside.
Now here's Anthony. He's coming off a 10-point game against Portland.
Well, despite his struggles from the field in this period, you know he's going to keep asking for the basketball.
Outside Westbrook. Pass to Roberson. Back to Westbrook. Just 5 on the clock. Doesn't go for him. Great D that time from Gibson. Minnesota with the ball. They're on an 11-3 run right now. Kevin, one of the biggest moments of your career, the 2008 championship with the Boston Celtics. Talk about the camaraderie among that group of players.
Kev, I can tell right away that we had something special getting together right in September, right before the year started. We started working out together. We started sharing concepts and how we saw the game. Right away, I can tell that the appetite was there. 1 through 15 guys. It's very rare that you're able to get that many guys in that early. As soon as Danny, signed guys, we were in, we were lifting, we was just, around each other, understanding each other, playing a lot. We was playing a lot. Then, fortunately, we was able to go off to Rome that year. Rome was a good distraction for us because we had to lean on one another.
To bond a little bit.
Seriously, because, none of us spoke Italian. If we wanted to go somewhere, we was always 3-4 deep, and no one was asking and no one was telling us to be with each other. We were just naturally being with each other so much that whenever you saw us to the restaurants, 9, 10 of us, that carried over to practice. Then we got 2 teams that are very competitive. Doc's letting us be who we want to be, and he's letting us play with passion, and our practices are over the top aggressive and to the point where it's too competitive to where he has to come in and separates us and, take the balls and cut the lights out and get us out of here. To the point where he just lets us go. Now we start bringing concepts to him. He started trusting our IQs. Now we start putting a couple of things on defense. Thibodeau's in there. He's implementing stuff. When this flow is going like this, you don't know that you're going to win it all, but you know you're on the waves of something special. And that's how that felt.
I'd say that's been the story of this guy's night. He can't get anything to fall.
Oh, he just punches that one down with a fury.
He rubs it in a little deeper with the hanging finish. Timeout is called, first of the game for the Thunder. And KG, talk about how the greats can just impose their will.
It's almost like another level.
Yeah.
When you see LeBron, what he did to Detroit in that fourth quarter, that's a blackout. You don't know what you're doing. When you see Kobe go for 81, when you see Chauncey come down on a one, these players are blacking out. These are elite players in elite moments, taking the moment. Paul Pierce is one of the best that I've ever seen grab a moment and savor it and just put it in slow-mo. And nothing speeding them up.
Special players.
Special players, but I get a front row seat of 10 now. Ray Allen, the same thing. Had a great composure about himself to slow himself down and hit pressure shots. Tim Duncan, same thing.
And when you build a big lead like this, especially early, you have to guard against the letdown.
No, exactly right. You can't afford to get complacent, right? They have to stay hungry and humble if they want to keep this lead.
Here's Collison, following the score by Derrick Rose. The pass to Ferguson. And that comes off the assist by Raymond Felton. Ferguson's got his first bucket of the game, and he's on the board for 3. Kevin, coming out of high school, you were relatively mature for your age, as 17 turning 18, but do you ever regret not trying college and just seeing what that experience would have been like? I mean, it's such a long time ago, but you've had some chance probably to get some perspective on both sides of that story.
You know what, Kev, I look at it like the unknown is the unknown. Obviously, I've had friends that went to college. Some of my best friends went to college, and I think I've kind of lived it through them a little bit. Listen, when you have responsibility early in life,
which you did,
which I did,
yes,
and you know, so from a mature level, things that interest me are not that interesting as you get older, especially when you have to deal with a vigorous schedule of an NBA schedule. I wasn't able to, be the 17, 18-year-old to chill, have, lean on the parents a little bit, be able to be at home, coming home through the weekends. I had a real life that I was responsible for, and I was growing something. I was building something. I was trying to not just be a young player in our league, but a young businessman wanting to establish something for myself, my friends, my family. You can't do those things thinking like a normal 17, 18-year-old. You're taking pieces from grown men around you all the time. You're around people who need something all the time. At some point, you have to put all this together, and you have to make it work for you, and you have to put your spin on it for how it works for you and your brand. And you have to be innovative with that. You have to be creative with that. You have to have a vision.
Wow, yeah, there's a lot to consider. And Minnesota has possession, following the score by Oklahoma City.
That's not the type of opportunity he fails to convert very often.
Kevin, when you played, we all know how intense you were, how much you cared. That, to me, was the thing that you cared so much about the product, about your team, about the game. But some people have said that maybe there was a streak of you that was mean is maybe not the right word, but you were overly aggressive. But I don't know how you could have played any differently.
I call it dialed in.
What?
I like to think that if you're trying to accomplish something, then, I only know one way to accomplish something. You go at it with everything you have.
Yes.
You go to dominate it and take it over. You don't go at something lightly.
You can't walk through the park with this game,
not at all. Not at all. And this game is full of talented elites. Night in, night out, you're playing someone that can typically go for 50 easy.
So true. And he makes that one. Well, the fans out there watching this, Kev, can you talk about why it's so incredibly difficult to win an NBA title, to become a champion? Why is it such a tough process?
Well, just imagine having a goal and you're not pursuing the goal by yourself. Just say you and somebody else.
Relying on somebody else.
Relying on somebody else, okay? So let's just say you and someone are doing something, walking up a hill. Y'all getting ready to go walk up a hill. Well, the speed at which you want to walk at might be different from the other person. And what you realize about when you're trying to reach any goal is that you have to be connected. You have to be understanding of, we're going to walk up it together like at this speed, like this, or we're going fast, we're going slow. It has to be a great level of communication and understanding. At the same time, you have to have the same work ethic, because you have to understand you're together. And you don't get to go at this level and leave someone behind. You have to actually, if you got to pull them, if you got to keep up, whatever it is. All this goes into trying to win.
It sure does. That's right. The first one falls. So 1 for 2 that time at the stripe. And Kev, you think of the great ones. You, Kobe, I mean, Jordan. Timmy, yeah, how about him? They worked harder than anybody else, Kevin.
And what you learn is that the similarity or the parallel that you all have is an inner animal that you never speak about. You know, we're all a little off. We're all a little dark, but that's what pushes you through pain. That's what pushes you through tough moments. When someone says you can't, when someone says this is not possible, this is unreal. No one's ever done it. That's the moment you're looking for. The moment someone told Kobe that he couldn't get over 50, 60, something Jordan couldn't do, he was driven in that. And if Phil wouldn't have stopped him, he probably would have reached 100 points.
He probably would have, yeah.
You know, he did Will Chamberlain a favor. And that's just real. He was in that type of mode. We all share that passion. We all share that drive. And the ones that have that inner darkness, we all understand.
It's like a split personality, huh?
It's almost like another level.
Yeah.
Boy, the assist just put on time and on target. Easy shot opportunity.
Collison with a screen on Teague. And again, Oklahoma City, no good.
And already they've staked out a noticeable advantage in terms of aggression and controlling the backboard.
They set the pick. Here's Patton. He averages about 5 points a game. Shot off the screen. And again, Jamal Crawford. And it's a 4-point Timberwolves lead.
Boy, excellent team basketball. Use the screen to free himself up and drill the jump shot.
Felton with the ball. There's the three. And released it in time, but it's off the mark. Jimmy Butler has been on display for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He finishes with 9 points in the quarter. The D is having all sorts of problems with him. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Well, we know what Derrick Rose has been through, the injuries, the expectations. And we asked him how he's dealing with all of it.
I got a clear mind when I play. I can't think about the past. I can't think about if I'm going to hurt myself, if I move the wrong way. When I'm out there, I have a free mind. I have no expectations on myself. I just know that I prepare myself well. There's no pressure.
Well, and Rose says no pressure, but I have to feel like there's at least a little bit, guys, of pressure to get back to where he was.
Yeah, I mean, league MVP in 11, once considered a cornerstone for the NBA's youth movement. What we find out now after dealing with the adversity is, does he have the heart and drive?
And now the second quarter just getting set to start. And guys, what's your take so far on the Timberwolves?
Tough defense throughout that first period, and it's really paying dividends.
Well, I think there's a level of physicality with them right now and not allowing the opponent to feel comfortable getting into their heads just a bit.
Teague out there with Crawford. Then it's Gorgie Dang, and it's Bielitsa in at the three. So that's the lineup for Minnesota. From the sideline, let's catch up with Hall of Famer David Aldridge.
Well, guys, analytics has taken over the NBA, but Minnesota coach and president of basketball operations Tom Thibodeau says it doesn't tell you everything. He said analytics can measure a lot of things, but it's very difficult to measure drive. The magic is in the work. Kevin?
And Tom Thibodeau makes a good point, D.A. Analytics is certainly helpful, but it doesn't capture everything. Kevin, you accomplished everything individually as a teammate. Anything that you wish you would have done, any player that you wish you would have played with, any regret in that form that lingers with you in retirement?
No, nothing lingers. Obviously, you sit back and think about, I would love to play with Kobe for a year, or got to team at least play in the U.S.
You had a chance. Wasn't it like a rumor at one time?
It was. My connection with Paul was just the opportunity when I waited. It's what it was, but
and you wouldn't have traded the Paul Pierce thing for anything.
No, I wouldn't have, because Paul and I are true brothers. The connection, and then the team, Ray, you know, my connection with Doe and then Doc and all that. So I wouldn't have given that up for anything. But if I could have played with one person, it probably would have been Cole. Summertime, I say USA because that's when you get to play with each other and all that, and you get to kind of beat up on everybody else and be USA or whatever. So that would have been super fun. But it's all good. Shout to Mama, you know what it is. But I have no regrets, man. I left everything on the floor. I enjoy watching the game more than ever now, dog. I'm not even going to front. I enjoy having my popcorn, my little ritual, my boys, and we sit back and watch the game. I'm loving the game.
Yeah. Ferguson. That one bounces around and comes back out. Timberwolves leading by 8. Kevin, you were always known as wanting to play and always wanting to practice. You were a gym rat. What did you do when a coach would ask you maybe to take a breather? Let's sit out this game. Let's rest up. Would you welcome that? Would you just say, I'll let you know when I can't go? Or how would you handle that situation?
You know what? I've always asked the coach to respect the way I get ready for games. I've always asked him to respect the way I approach the game. I've always asked the coach to respect me and my expertise of knowing my body. I'm very, very vocal. Listen, if one person needs rest and it's me, I know how to raise my hand. I know how to say I need some rest. But, you know, I'm a person who likes to push through a lot of things. I'm a person who understands rest, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I'm a person who understands that practice makes perfect. And if I can work on something for as long as I can to make something better, because I know at the end when I need it, especially when I used to call it dial up. When I call, I need the answer.
Here's Westbrook following the score by Jamal Crawford. And Adams kicks to Westbrook. Pass to Carmelo. Back to Westbrook. Takes the 3. The rebound by the Timberwolves. Towns has got rebound number 5 here tonight. Butler on the wing. Kicks it out to Wiggins. The shot's good on the assist by Butler. Butler's got 3 assists now in this one. Regular season grind, 82 games in the regular season. In your opinion, is that the right amount of games for teams to play, or would you like to see the schedule shortened where there's more practice in between, more days of rest, more days to recuperate?
Man, look.
You got a big smile on your face.
For the old school, Kev, you know, 82 games is how you got to come through it. This is, listen.
It's a war, isn't it?
Listen, it is. And you know what? This is the tradition of it, man. This is what it is, bro. If you don't want to go through this and go through this hall and this road of this journey, then cool. Go to another league. They got shorter games. They got other awards that you can, you know. This is the NBA. This is what it is. This is the grind of it. And ones that have come before you have done it, just like the ones that's after you is going to do it. This is what it is, bro.
Yeah, affecting the shot in a big way there. Excellent defense.
Well, you talk about getting into the space of the shooter. This is how you defend the paint.
Kevin, some of the relatively new rules protecting players, the breakaway, the flagrant 1, the flagrant 2. Are you in favor of all this stuff?
I'm in favor for players' health. You know, anything that is going to be detrimental to a player's health, I feel like, you know, the player's health is the first and only obligation. That's all I've ever worried about. You know, foul play, you know, I think every player should always understand it's a way to foul, it's a way to be able to, you know, send a message. But in the heat of the moment, I get it. You know, things happen. But just I hope that all players out there will continue to, you know, to care about and respect the game.
And he makes the first. Kevin, it's been said that some guys hated to play against you. Is there someone you hated to play against for whatever reason?
No.
You enjoyed every jump?
I enjoyed every competitor because on the offensive side of the ball, I was always challenged when to use counters or what type of moves I was using. I took a lot of pride in having a variety of moves for different types of defenses. And each guy is going to bring out a different side of the offense in you. And then turning around and then being that defender and being able to guard the post player or the post or whatever the post player was or whatever. Rasheed Wallace was always a tough guard. Tim Duncan was always a tough guard. Zach Randolph was always a tough guard. Chris Webber, Dice, Karl Malone.
Great names. And Kevin, you played for some great coaches, but is there any coach you would have been interested to work with that just didn't get a chance to? Say, you know, Greg Popovich or Phil Jackson.
You know, those are great coaches. I've had very, very little time with those guys.
Maybe in all-star games and things like that.
I have. But, you know, when you do all-star games, you let yourself go. You know, you open up yourself to try to, you know, be there and be present with the guys. Yes. Open up, you know, hey, what's up? What's been up with you? How's the year for y'all? Y'all playing well. We're going to beat y'all when we see y'all, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, you're very cordial. And, you know, you're not talking too much about X's and O's. But you do share perspectives. You do share, you know, philosophies. Pop is a great mind. I had a chance to sit with him a couple times. Phil's a great mind. Phil is super deep and loves the philosophy of. I haven't had a lot of time with those guys. Doc Rivers, you know, shout to Doc. And, you know, I know he doesn't get a lot for his philosophies, but he's very enriched with philosophies and styles and bringing teams together and trying to make sure that guys stay connected, stimulated. He would always tell us, man, never get bored with the process.
Wow, that's so intriguing. Interesting to hear. Free throw, good. Teague.
Well, there's so much value in how Jeff Teague runs an offense. He's got great speed. He plays hard on both ends of the floor. I think any organization would be lucky to have this guy.
And that's good as he hits both of his shots. And Kevin, welcome to the 2K team. I didn't realize how much you love NBA 2K.
Oh, man, you know 2K is always live, man. I'm a super fan. Man, this game is going all over the place, bro. Like, seriously, like, I'm geeked to see what's next, man. They got everything down. I'm sitting here watching all the little small intangibles that come with the game. I'm watching the game grow. I'm watching how better players are getting. I'm watching the online play, man. It's lit. It's lit. I can't wait to see this.
Boy, great job protecting the rim and turning an easy layup into a missed opportunity.
Wiggins against Anthony. Up again. Great positioning on the putback.
They're scoring boatloads of buckets. It's raining buckets from inside.
Thunder trailing by 16. Now a timeout called by Oklahoma City. They're moving on after the tough loss they took at the hands of the Blazers.
Yeah, but they didn't roll over in that game. Had a good chance still to pull out the victory. Just couldn't come through in crunch time.
You know, here's the thing. They played hard. Strategy was solid. They had a couple of lulls, and it really cost them.
Yeah, he's got to make some adjustments here. Just too easy to score in the lane against them right now.
But, Greg, no resistance, right? They're allowing them to get any kind of shot they want close. That simply can't happen.
Rose, he's checked in for Minnesota. Westbrook with the bucket. Hey, Kevin, when you play with Andrew Wiggins, you saw firsthand just how explosive he can be. What impresses you most about where he is right now and where he could go?
Man, Andrew's potential is through the roof. I've told him this countless times that when he wants to, he can. There's nothing that he can't do. It's just about his consistency and how he sees that, man. I told him, man, the world is his. I've yet to see a player in our league that has the athletic ability that he has, mixed with the IQ and being able to be players on both sides of the ball if he wants to. This kid is super long. He's fast. He's deceptionally fast. Like, I don't think people know how fast he really is. Great shooter, has a great IQ, not a good IQ, a great IQ. I told him, man, you know, I would like to see him with a little more oomph in his step. But if you know Drew, he's laid back. He's super cool. He's smooth with it, and his game reminds you of Steve Smith. And when Smitty used to, you know, rock people to sleep, he has a very good patience to his game.
The offensive rebound, and here's Westbrook from the arc, and that one goes out of bounds. Last touch by Westbrook. And a look now at the four areas where shots can come from. The paint, mid-range, and shots from deep, all broken down for Oklahoma City.
And you can see how important those inside baskets are. This is a team that loves to work the ball inside, whether the entry pass or off of a drive. They like to feed on those high percentage looks.
Minnesota leading by 12. Towns the screen. Rose with the ball. Westbrook picks him up. And Towns gets it to go. Towns has got 8 points. And Kevin, do you think you gravitate towards those young players because you were in their shoes at one time as a very, very young player in this league?
A little bit, but more importantly, I see it. I see it in him. I see that if he pushed through a little bit, and
you know it, you spot it.
Absolutely, yeah. Because you know what you see in young talent, you see it when it's there. Yes. When it's right in your face, like, holy, here, go get a rebound, put it back, dunk the ball, steal it, dunk it, come back down, and then be like, huh? You know, I often wonder how much Drew is actually stimulated. You know, he gets bored very easily, but when he turns it on, he is one of the best and is going to be one of the best in our league to come.
Kevin, especially back in Minnesota, you have some Hall of Fame battles with a guy named Tim Duncan. Talk about what those games, what those matchups were like.
Timmy, man. Timmy's very crafty, man. Our battles used to just, especially as young guys, man. Young guys trying to establish themselves in a gritty league at the time, full of some older, dominant names at the time. Michael Jordan, Elijah Malone. You know, the time where the forward position was a very, very tough position. But Timmy was one of them ones, man. Used angles very well, was very long, had a lot of counters, very strong, and had an inner beast that people really didn't really talk about because you didn't really necessarily hear or see it. But man, Timmy's one of the best, man. It's not by coincidence. He's one of the ones.
Good on the second free throw.
Well, think of this. Back in 2011, Jimmy Butler was the last pick in the first round. He's gone from a guy with a reputation as hard worker to real star.
And the shots just continue to say no in terms of falling.
Kevin, when you entered the draft, no player had made the jump from high school to the NBA in 20 years. And what were your emotions when your name was called number 5 overall?
Oh, man, I remember that. It was
17 years old.
17, just turning 18 at the time. I was in like a whirlwind, to be honest. A lot of people don't know it's a lot of stuff that goes up into the draft. You know, things that I wasn't aware of. You're training twice a day. You know, you're trying to get ready for the combine. You're trying to get ready for pre-draft. You got to do workouts. This is all new to me. On top of still going to high school, trying to, you know, graduate and stuff. So I figured it out. I hustled and I bustled and I juggled a bunch of different things. But once your name is called, it's almost like the culmination. It all comes together. It's a special moment for just you and your family and your loved ones and ones around you. And when my name was called, it felt like the world had stopped and everything was going very slow.
Here's Gibson. Steven Adams making his last shot. Here's Wiggins, and Wiggins throws it down.
But love the pace. Wiggins being super aggressive, initiating contact. Beautiful.
Thunder trailing by 15. Kevin, what a lot of fans don't get to see is all the work players do behind the scenes at home, before games, after games, on off days. Can you talk a little bit about that? Getting your body ready from the end of one game to play the next game. I mean, I've seen it, but you talk about it.
Yeah, the wellness starts right after you stop playing. The minute you come off the court, you're iced. You know, you got to do progressions where right after the game, you shower. Obviously, you got to get massages. You got to get some type of wellness on your legs just because you're running so much. People don't know that you have to lift weights. You know, when we was in Boston, we lift every other day. We had a strenuous strength program. Shout out to B-Do. Brian Dew, who's our strength coach up there, never let us get a day off. And if you didn't lift weights, then we find you as a players find you. Because it's important for you to come in here and be strong. We need everybody to be as strong as they can be. So you have to lift. And then actually, you know, you practice. But after practice, you have to put time into your own personal game.
Right. So much goes into it. It's amazing.
Two shots.
The free throw drops for Russell Westbrook.
Boy, showing a lot more aggressiveness now after making 0 trips to the line in the first quarter.
Some changes for Minnesota. Jang, he's checked in for Gibson. Bielitsa comes in for Wiggins. And it's Crawford in for Jimmy Butler. The Thunder also changing it up. Nick Collison's checked in for Adams. Jeremy Grant comes in for Patrick Patterson. And Ferguson subbed in for Anthony.
And guys, this is the way to stay in the game. They're doing a masterful job from the line. Perfect this quarter.
Stolen by Westbrook. Here's Roberson. Looking at his numbers, he's averaging about 6.5 points a game. Goes up on the wing. Westbrook can't get it to go.
Solid rebound there, and with the score like it is, that's an area where they can't afford to get lazy.
Crawford, no luck.
That's a shot he's got to hit. You don't get many looks better from that range.
Ferguson's shot is good.
Russell Westbrook with his head on a swivel. He understands where his guys are at all times.
.122 left in the first half of the game. Towns down low. He's covered by Collison. Crawford missing again.
That's one he knows he should have drained.
Adding a lot of flavor to the mix, Kevin Garnett. Kevin, thanks for stopping by. Always a pleasure. Hope you join us again sometime.
Man, Kevin, it's always a pleasure, man. It's always great to see you, man. Anytime you need me, you holler at me, all right?
Future Hall of Famer and a terrific person, Kevin Garnett. And Doris, one of the things that really strikes me about KG, he's as smart as he is athletically gifted. What a treat to have him join us tonight.
Well, I'm in awe of his enthusiasm, and it's not just when he's talking, but when others are talking as well. There's so much life to the conversation. Everything he brought to the court for 21 years, he now brings to the booth.
Collison. Here's Grant. Minnesota with the rebound. At one point, they led by 16. Coming into this, having notched a win against Cleveland in their last game.
And once they established that flow offensively, really never got any resistance from the D.
I think, Greg, you can't expect to win with that kind of effort. The defense was nowhere to be found, and it cost them all night long.
They've settled into a nice groove offensively here in the second.
There's a good screen. And Roberson kicks to Westbrook. Shakes off the strong D and gets to the bucket for two. Westbrook's got 12 points in the game. And so it's the Minnesota Timberwolves looking at a 13-point lead heading into the next quarter. They've been playing some inspired defense, giving up very few easy points. And now we'll send it over to David Aldridge, who is standing by courtside. David.
Thanks, guys. Andrew, what do you like about the way the team's playing so far?
We're competitive right now. We're going after it. In our possession, we're going hard.
We'll see if that continues in the second half, Andrew. Thank you. Back to you, Kevin.
Thank you, David. And we'll be back after halftime as the third quarter gets underway.
The 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the halftime show on 2K Sports. Ernie Johnson here with Kenny the Jet Smith and Shaquille O'Neal. What a start for Jimmy Butler. He had 14 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds. And Shaq, what do you think about what we saw from Minnesota?
Well, Kenny should appreciate this. I love the ball movement. They were in sync as a unit, and their assist numbers were impressive. Anytime you get 5 players working together like that instead of one guy doing it alone, it's always going to be a boost. That's the primary reason they're in control of the game.
And over to Kenny, your thoughts on the Thunder.
Poor efficiency on offense. That's what jumps out at me. You aren't going to win many games shooting under 35%. Bad shot selection, too much one-on-one play, not finishing with authority. Now, these are correctable errors. They could choose to come out in the second half and completely flip that script.
That's it for halftime, as the second half is just about to get underway.
We come back to Minnesota now with a striking look at the 10th Avenue Bridge, downtown Minneapolis, off in the distance. And as we welcome you back, we begin our second half. So far, not a tightly contested game, guys, but, you know, anything can happen. We are seeing a tremendous game from Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, so far they haven't found an answer for him, a scoring machine here in that first half.
And it's mattered not, Greg, whether he's been spotting up or creating for himself. He was unstoppable, and you hope it carries over to the second half.
Welcome back, everyone, to the start of the second half. Big margin on our hands, but we'll see if that gap narrows down in the third and fourth quarters. Doris, who are some of the guys that surprise you with their toughness on a nightly basis in the NBA?
You know, you have to think historically, pound for pound in the history of the NBA, the toughest single guy was Allen Iverson. For me, the current iteration, and I'm not saying that Isaiah Thomas is Allen Iverson, they're drastically different players because Isaiah doesn't have that kind of athleticism that AI had early. But Isaiah at 5'9", to continually find his way into the paint, to be willing to attack the bigs, to absorb the kind of pounding he does, and get himself into the MVP conversation, Kevin, really, that was incredible.
LeBron probably takes, for a guy his size, you think he can dish it out, but I'm telling you, I think he gets whacked all the time.
I think, Kevin, this is the single hardest guy in the NBA to officiate today, and frankly, I do not believe LeBron James goes to the foul line as much as he deserves.
Well said. And on the floor for Billy Donovan as we get into the second half. The dynamic tandem of Westbrook and George, the backcourt. Inside, it's Patterson and Adams. And it's Anthony in at the 3 spot. And so Butler nails both of them.
And watching Jimmy Butler, he just offers so much on offense from a scoring standpoint. You know, obviously he can get to the rack and draw the defense to him. Also really improved his ability to knock it down from beyond. Just a complete offensive player.
Patterson can't get it to go.
And even without that 3-ball dropping for him, the defense should have done more on that last play.
Thunder trailing by 15. Anthony with it, now defended by Wiggins. Adams with the screen on Wiggins. Anthony, the pass to Adams. And that one is off. Great D that time from Gibson. And Greg, as you said, Butler is a threat to score from any part of the floor.
It's a bit of a dying art, though, hitting that mid-range jump shot. Butler also does a great job of getting to the line. That's increased over the course of his career. Just a well-rounded offensive player.
Here's George, rejected by Teague.
Wow, how about the superb extension on the block from Jeff Teague? He just reads his man perfectly, Kevin.
Okay, well, let's go down to David Aldridge for a report from the sideline.
Well, Kevin, Karl Anthony Towns was voted by GMs last season as the player they most want to build a franchise around. But he is not resting on his laurels. He said, I work hard on my game. I want to be the strongest player, the most intelligent player, and the most skilled player on the court at all times. Kevin?
Thanks, David. That work ethic will definitely help Towns get better. He's already a dynamite player. Now here's Teague. Taking a look at his stats, he's averaging around 7.5 points a game. Adams sets the pick for Westbrook. Off the screen. That one good for 2. Westbrook's got 14.
Yeah, Westbrook just needs a sliver of space on the screen, and he is good to go.
Teague dishes to Gibson. They set the pick. Butler kicks to Towns. Foul call that time on the way up. That'll give him 2 chances at the free throw line here.
Boy, when you watch Cat play out there, you can forget exactly how young he is. The poise and manner of a 10-year vet, and very aware of what is happening on the court.
He's getting his first free throw attempt of the night right now.
Gotta admire what he's been able to do at the free throw line this season. How about over 90%?
Shooting 2.
The free throw drops for Towns. And while Towns does play beyond his years, he is definitely young, to the point where he was actually younger than every member of both starting fives, Doris, in the national championship game last season in college basketball.
I think it's got to be a scary thought for the league that Cat is still years away from what should be his prime. It's rare to see a player so young have such great court awareness. And I think that's the thing that separates good players from great players.
Now, here is George. And you know the points will always be there for him. He's averaging just a shade under 20 points a game right now. Anthony against Gibson. And the rejection by Towns.
Well, his value to this team on both ends. Not many guys can defend the perimeter and the rim the way Towns can.
Butler with the ball. George picks him up. Back to Towns. Wiggins outside. But they recover it. Here's Gibson. No luck. They battled on the glass but couldn't knock it down.
Ooh, and this is turning into a slow start here in the second half. Seems like they left that offense in the locker room.
Butler kicks to Gibson. Back to Butler. Towns, the pass to Teague. And he was fouled on the way up. 2 free throws now for him.
And really one of the quickest guards in our league. Jeff Teague just puts tremendous pressure on your defense when he's attacking the paint.
And the book on Teague, Greg, is to make him an outside shooter. You don't want him getting to the rim.
I mean, he's a good finisher around the rim. His outside shooting, although streaky at times, not bad, but not great either. Shooting 2.
The first one falls.
Well, if you think back to last season, guys, the narrative was that Russell Westbrook had 0 help on this roster. To be completely honest, I thought it was unfair to the pieces that were around Russell Westbrook and the job they did playing their roles to exactly the standard this organization wanted.
And the Timberwolves making a change here. Patton's checked in. And so Teague hits 2 free throws. And what the fans are saying is that Westbrook, Doris, just needs more help around him.
Well, certainly the acquisition of Paul George should relieve some pressure on Russell Westbrook because now he's teamed along yet another superstar.
Now a timeout called by Oklahoma City. You look at Jimmy Butler. He's really been playing well.
I think one of the things at the top of the list in this timeout discussion has got to be the amount of room they're giving him to operate. You've got to get more bodies on him to try to disrupt his rhythm.
Let's check out the Western Conference standings right now that we're here in the new year. You look at the Timberwolves. They're holding on to second spot in the conference. A great season for them so far. And, of course, Oklahoma City, just a few spots below there.
And I think for Minnesota, for me, they've taken the league by storm this season. I felt like they were maybe a year ahead of schedule in terms of being an elite group. But you look at them right now, and here they are.
Yeah, they weren't really on anyone's radar before the season began, but they're definitely there now.
And here is the shot chart as we see how things are going for Westbrook.
Well, we know that this team can shoot a lot better from deep. But tonight it's just not there for them. They can keep firing and hope they can shoot their way out of this funk. But if they continue to shoot it like they have from beyond the arc thus far, they'll just be beating themselves.
Timberwolves leading by 17. Teague dishes to Butler. Back to Teague. It's rebounded by Oklahoma City. Felton has got 3 rebounds so far in the game. From past the arc, good on the three-point shot.
Oh, Felton puts a terrific spin on his shots from deep. Stroke is too nice.
And here is Teague. Butler up top. Back to Teague. Outside Butler. Right wing. Here's Patton. Kept alive, Minnesota. Teague kicks to Wiggins. Second chance shot. Shoots from the baseline, and the jumper is on the mark. 6 points for Teague.
Oh, my goodness. The defense looking helpless in that instance, doing all they can. But ultimately, Jeff Teague beats them with better offense.
Now here's Anthony. They've been leaning on him for a decent chunk of their offense. He's averaging over 15 points a game. Wiggins passes to Patton, and he bangs it home with one hand.
Well, late rotation by the defense, and Wiggins has the vision to find the open man.
Thunder trailing by 18. Outside, Felton. Screen by Adams. Here's Patterson. The rebound by Patton. Patton's got his 3rd rebound on the night. Outside Butler. So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there. Rumors about Butler being traded from Chicago were circulating last season. Draft day comes around, and the Minnesota Timberwolves made their move, Greg, to acquire him.
Yeah, and the more you look at it, the trade looks great for Butler and the Wolves. Reunites him with Coach Thibodeau, joins an incredibly young core in Towns and Wiggins, and the sky's the limit, I think, for this young Wolves team.
2 shots.
The free throw job for Butler. Doris, so often we talk about high basketball IQ. Is that something you can learn, or do you have to be born with something like that?
I think it's probably a little bit of both, but if you look at someone like LeBron James, whose basketball IQ may be the highest we've ever seen, I think he's a guy whose basketball knowledge is always expanding, and I think if you love the game, you're constantly taking in information, so probably a little bit of both.
So you've always got to be curious, right? Even if you're at the top of the game like LeBron or yourself.
Right. LeBron is just, he's constantly taking in sources of information, upping his ante in terms of film watching and preparation. Really special to be able to watch that guy work.
And I know that's how you prepare as a broadcaster now. I'd like to tag along sometime and watch you prepare for a game. That'd be a lot of fun.
It'd be a blast.
Here's Teague. Steven Adams making his last shot. Butler on the wing. To the paint. Here's Wiggins, and Adams sends it back.
And the defense of Steven Adams is so important to this team. They depend on him to be a rim protector now.
Chalk up 2 there. Adams has got 17.
I'll tell you, he's been one area they haven't had to worry about tonight. He's been scoring at will.
T kicks to Butler. Wiggins outside. Teague for 3. The Timberwolves again can't hit.
On a pretty good day for them so far, his shooting has been one of the tough spots.
And it's Anthony again missing.
Well, he's trying to shoot his way out of this slump, but it's not helping his team. That was an awful quarter.
George against Butler. Wiggins drives in. The rebound by Patterson.
Boy, what a tough night. Imagine what their lead would be if he were having a better night from the field.
Well, you see the struggles he's having getting anything to go.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously cold right now, but he's trying to find that rhythm. You've got to keep working.
Now here's Teague. He has 6. Butler with the ball. Guarded now by Patrick Patterson. Off the pick. Here's Patton. The shot's good on the assist by Butler. Butler's got 4 assists now tonight.
And you just love how Butler works the ball around to his guys. A selfless player who wants to make his teammates better.
Here's Patterson. He's averaging just around 8.5 points a game. Here's Adams. They double him with Butler. And stolen by Jang. Patton the pass to Teague. Here's Wiggins. That shot is off. And Oklahoma City will go with it the other way. Felton dishes to Adams. On his 15th shot attempt, he makes his 9th basket, shooting a healthy 60% tonight. So the Timberwolves called their first timeout. Their last encounter was in Oklahoma City, where they were able to handle the Thunder.
Yeah, a dominant win for them their last time in this matchup. And what jumps off the stat page was their advantage on the boards.
I think the goal always is to control the glass if you can. It ends up giving you extra possessions that typically lead to extra points.
Minnesota making some changes. Bielitsa, he's checked in for Andrew Wiggins. Crawford comes in for Jimmy Butler. And Derrick Rose is subbed in for Jeff Teague. And a new group in here for the Thunder. Nick Collison's checked in for Adams. Jeremy Grant comes in for Patrick Patterson. Andre Robertson, he's checked in for Carmelo Anthony. And Ferguson subbed in for Paul George. You look at the success that Coach Billy Donovan has had both at the college level at Florida And his first few years in the NBA at Oklahoma City, Doris, he very much feels at home in playoff and pressure situations.
Well, certainly Billy D has a lot of experience managing a team in a postseason setting. This is a guy who always tinkers during the regular season to find different angles to help his guys. Billy Donovan, one of those guys increasingly who you don't want to see in a 7-game series.
And the first one drops.
Impeccable from the line since halftime.
And so Jamal Crawford nails both of them. Thunder trailing by 18. Here's Roberson. There's the pick. Kicks it to Felton. Back to Roberson. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Lets it fly. Oklahoma City keeping it alive with a new 24-second shot clock.
Oh, the 7'3" wingspan erases that shot. Nice by Gorgui Dieng.
Yeah, outstanding job there of taking the harm and still able to finish.
And for Derrick Rose, listen, he proved last season that he can still be an impact player on the offensive end. The guy averaged 18 points a game, his most since he missed all of the 2013 season. He's confident with the ball in his hand. He's a consistent source of scoring.
One shot.
And for Rose in his offense, he isn't the same player he was, Doris, before his injuries, but he has adjusted his offensive game quite nicely in what he can now do.
Right, because Rose has started to play a lot closer to the rim the last few seasons, and that's helped his scoring efficiency. He doesn't take near the volume of three-pointers he once did.
Now, here's Felton. Back to Roberson. Launches a three. Rebound, Minnesota.
The edge on the glass is the difference. It's allowed them to build this lead.
Pass to Patton. Nice ball movement by Minnesota. The Elites with the bucket.
How many times have we seen a possession like that from them today? Ending with a basket, coming off a pretty pass.
They've been looking out of sync offensively.
Yeah, their offense has ground to a standstill.
Here's Collison over Dieng. So he gets the whistle. Contact on the way up and 2 shots coming up. Doris, what an honor. Inducted into your college's Hall of Fame, something not many of us can say. What does that kind of honor do for the confidence for you personally going forward?
You know what? Providence College is a place that means a great deal to me. So what that Hall of Fame induction did was just remind me of all the special memories that I shared with my teammates. I'm close with many of them today. And Kevin, you know this, if you've ever been inside a locker room, it's those moments when you're laughing until your stomach hurts. I'd say we were the Hall of Fame fun team. That's what I'd say.
I think we're on the fun team here on 2K. That one is no good. And Doris, as many NBA teams are doing, the Minnesota Timberwolves now have their own G League affiliate.
Well, and to me, this is a smart move by the organization, Kev, because it gives them a lot of flexibility in how they develop players. It's a very useful tool given their young talent. Only positives have come from teams purchasing G League affiliates.
Here's Felton. After the basket by Minnesota, the Thunder with another miss.
And they just tried everything to stem the tide here, but nothing seems to work.
Greg, I think this other team is just in a zone right now. They're clicking on the offensive end, and the defense starting to look frustrated.
And he'll shoot free throws here. Clearly fouled on that shot that time. The whistle blowing. And the foul goes against Oklahoma City. And Derrick Rose, a free agent this last offseason, didn't get the contract that he might have been hoping for, but most teams' doors shied away from giving sizable contracts to a player with his type of injury history.
Well, for Derrick Rose, I think a number of teams have an interest in him, just not at the same price he once commanded. Still beloved in terms of the fans because he's top 15 in jersey sales.
That free throw, no good.
Boy, what a roller coaster career it has been for Derrick Rose. One-time league MVP, now just trying to fit in with the rest of his guys. This is not an easy transition.
And Oklahoma City making a change here. Westbrook's checked in. He hits the second from the line. 1:41 left to play here in the third. It's Collison top of the key to end the run. A rebound by the Timberwolves. Patton's got his 7th rebound of the game with that last one. And Bjelica has it in the corner. Tries a three. It's hauled in by Collison. Collison's got his 5th rebound in this one. Here's Ferguson. Takes it into the teeth of the D and converts the layup. Ferguson's got 9.
Absolutely fearless. I mean, a nice subtle adjustment there going up against Wentz.
And to me, that's all about the body control, right, Greg? I mean, he does such a stellar job sizing up his man and drains it despite having the size on him.
Now, here's Westbrook following the miss by Derrick Rose. And it's out of bounds. Oklahoma City able to retain possession here. Taj Gibson's checked in for Patton. .54 seconds left to play in the third. And here's Westbrook from the arc. Westbrook missing again.
Oh, great job on the closeout, providing a lot of good D on the perimeter.
Well, that's just superb effort on the defensive end. You don't allow the shooter to get into a rhythm from deep.
Now here's Rose. 8 points for him. Over Grant. And once again off the mark by Minnesota.
Boy, that's a tough miss. Does well to get himself open and then botches it up.
But they get it back.
Yeah, just nice hustle there. That work gets them the extra possession.
The Timberwolves shooting 35% or so in the third quarter. Whatever they're trying is not working. Crawford kicks to Rose. It's hauled in by Collison. 3 seconds left. And that's not going to go. And so it's Minnesota holding a very comfortable 25-point lead as the quarter comes to a close. The defensive work they've done against Paul George has been a big factor. He hasn't done anywhere near the kind of damage we expected. We've got more NBA basketball coming your way in just a minute. And now we take a listen into the recent huddle from Tom Thibodeau.
Defensively, make sure we're all getting rebounded. No second shot. In transition, everyone talking. No open threes in transition.
And Tom Thibodeau wanting his team to pay particular attention to certain areas of their defense.
Yeah, taking care of the defensive boards, allowing no easy baskets on the fast break. These are key elements in terms of you having success.
And we welcome you back as we get going here in the fourth quarter. The final quarter of play can change everything. Taj Gibson is out there with Bjelica. Then it's Brooks. Then it's Jones. And it's Aldridge in at the 5 down low. So that's the lineup for Minnesota.
And with the success they've had rebounding the basketball, they're right where you'd expect them to be, firmly in the driver's seat.
Jones, no luck. The Thunder shooting 31%, not looking sharp offensively to say the least. Here's Abrinas, defended by Jones. They set the pick. And Aldridge sends it back.
No, we see it here. On a per-minute basis, Aldridge has been one of the league's best shot blockers.
And so it's Oklahoma City with it. Here in the fourth quarter, their defense has been very strong, allowing no baskets. Now, here's Brewer. Collison with the screen for Brewer. Just 5 on the clock. Ferguson. And again, no good by Oklahoma City.
One made three formed for the game. Does he focus closer in? Let's see.
The Elitza misses. Oklahoma City has gotten off to an 0 for 2 start from downtown here in the fourth quarter. Collison with a screen on Brooks. Feeds it to Brewer. Takes the 3. The shot missing. And Minnesota now the other way. Brooks with no one around. Drains it from beyond the arc. Brooks has got the first points up on the board here in the fourth for Minnesota. They could use a big shot here to get this offense going.
Too many empty possessions. Right now, they need a basket.
Minnesota's gone 1 of 2 from three-point range here in the fourth. It's Bielitsa and a missed layup.
That's a complete effort. Stuck with his man, gets his hand up, and then he doesn't hesitate to finish the possession with the rebounding job.
For Oklahoma City, they've gone a dismal 0 for 5 to get the fourth quarter underway. They set the screen. Pass to Ferguson. Here's Abrinas. Here's Eustace. And sticking right with it, gets the foul with the bucket, and he'll go to the line.
He doesn't let that possession go to waste, Kev. He's going to feed on those second chance opportunities. Boy, that's pretty work.
The one thing we saw with the Thunder last postseason, Doris, is that when Russell Westbrook comes off the floor, this team sometimes lost its direction.
Yeah, but now with Paul George in the fold, it makes sense to stagger their minutes. That way they won't have such a dramatic drop-off if Russell Westbrook leaves the floor.
One shot. One shot.
And the outcome of the collective bargaining agreement and a potential 11-year stretch of labor peace, one of the longest in league history. Doris, what does that mean for this great game of ours?
Well, it means certainly that we can all take a sigh of relief. Everybody wants to play basketball and see basketball played. So great for the players, their representation, great for the league, and certainly great for the fans and the television partners.
And Doris, I sense such fairness on both ends, too. It really is a partnership.
You know, I think it would be wise for both the players and the ownership to remember they need each other to peacefully coexist and to thrive. And when you're trying to get an agreement that does the best by both parties, this is what you can have. You can have a long stretch of labor peace that makes everyone happy.
Well said. And here now the Thunder, following the miss by Taj Gibson. Ferguson, the pass to Abrinas. They set the pick. Down low.
Well, you think about Tom Thibodeau as the architect of so many great defensive teams. For Minnesota, it took some time on the defensive end, but he feels like this team is starting to turn a corner on that end.
And he makes the first. Minnesota making some changes. Towns comes in for Taj Gibson. And Andrew Wiggins is subbed in for Bielitsa. Paul George, he's checked in for Oklahoma City. Collison hits them both. Look at the clock, a little under 3.5 minutes gone here in the fourth. Jones dishes to Aldridge. Screen by Jones. Back to Aldridge. It's taken away by Collison. Here's Abrinas, defended by Jones. Collison up top. Back to Abrinas. Teardrop shot. The shot comes out. Towns with the defensive effort. And for Thibodeau, you simply can't play for him unless you exert maximum effort on defense. Doris, he can be tough but fair in what he demands.
Well, as long as you're willing to work hard every single day on every possession, you can play for Tom Thibodeau. This is a guy who constantly preaches the importance of the little things, and he wants proper defense to become second nature for his team.
Here's Jones after Oklahoma City gets the three. It's good.
And some guys just have a nose for scoring, and this one couldn't have been any easier.
Well, really good awareness by the scorer. You're seeing an opening in the defense and exploiting it beautifully.
The shot by George, wide open. That's good on the jump shot.
I'll tell you, the crowd is stunned he got that one to fall.
A three-pointer, Wiggins. They get it back. Towns, another shot. They shoot again, and he sinks the layup.
+8 in the rebound differential. One more reason why they're in control.
Oklahoma City shooting only 31%. Their offense really struggling to put possessions together. George, no good.
You're not going to see that very often. Plenty of space, but he just, let's face it, he whiffs on that one.
Towns sets the pick for Brooks. Jones kicks to Towns. In the corner, it's Wiggins. Aldrich tips it back in.
Love the determination he showed there, getting himself into good position under the glass.
With the presence of mind to know just where the rebound was going to come down. Well timed. Here's Abrinas following the score by Cole Aldrich. Outside, George. Back to Collison. 6 to shoot. In the corner, George with it. Here's Eustis. That falls. Nice feed that time from George.
And as they're trailing in this game, they're trying to stay in it with the triple. They're shooting a lot more of them than they did in the first half.
And the Timberwolves call time here.
Well, when Paul George announced this summer that he intended to leave for the Lakers when the contract ran out, you knew what was coming. Even as a rental possibility, the suitors lined up, and eventually the price was paid, and now George finds himself in a Thunder uniform.
Looking at who's out there now for the Timberwolves. Patton, he's checked in for Aldrich. Butler comes in for Aaron Brooks. And it's Teague in for Jones. And Patton gets it to go.
And defensively, they are on their heels every time the ball comes inside.
And to many, the Thunder came out of nowhere to land George in that trade.
You know, most thought Cleveland or maybe Boston were the front runners for his services, but the Thunder snuck in and made their team a 2-star squad once again. Very interesting to see how far the duo of Westbrook and George can go.
And he can't get the first one. Well, Doris, beside what he brings to a team on the court, Steven Adams also helps the team in the locker room with his presence.
Yeah, there's no doubt. You can hear it in the way Steven Adams interacts with both the press and his teammates. He's a very personable guy. There's a sharp wit to him that can help ease tension within a team, or sometimes, if necessary, with the media.
And Doris, at the end of last season, the Timberwolves debuted their rebrand plans for this season.
Well, it was the right time, I think, to keep the logo fresh, and the team did a great job. You feel as if this will be the constant look for what is a new era in Minnesota basketball.
Take a break. Take a break. 2 shots.
And he knocks down the first one. Doris, we know coaches need to win to keep their jobs. However, they need great players to win, which falls on the shoulders of a general manager. So why are more coaches fired for poor team performance than GMs, you think?
You know, I think what's fascinating to me, and this is a supposition I've heard other broadcasters talk about, which I believe should be instituted. Instead of just showing the coach's record on national broadcast, why don't we include the record of the GM? because the coaches are not ultimately responsible unless they're responsible for both jobs, which we do see on occasion. But to me, the general manager has a significant role to the win-loss record, and both should be included.
And maybe when the owner says, hey, I'll pick the coach, it doesn't affect you. But if you pick the coach, you're tied with that coach. You're joined at the hip.
Great point. Great point. Well, obviously, the biggest impact Steven Adams has for this team is his ability to be a defensive force in the middle. This guy carves up space, takes away any would-be penetrators, solid rim protection, just an unbelievable guy on the interior.
First free throw is good. More on Adams, Doris. Not only is he a shot-blocking presence, but also will come up with a good amount of steals for a big man.
And that's an area, Kev, where Adams has really improved recently. For his size, he's got great agility and great anticipation in the paint. And I like that there's no hesitation to rotate and challenge any player he switches onto.
And so he makes both from the line. Doris, the league would prefer that players stay in college a minimum of 2 years before entering the draft. Others have countered with straight out of high school in that approach. Which way do you lean?
I would say I would lean to allow these young men, if they're prepared and have the talent and ability to go straight from high school to the league, they should have that opportunity. We don't put restrictions on any other field of endeavor. If you're a great musician, you can go to New York City and make a living in an orchestra on Broadway. To me, if you're capable, you should be allowed the opportunity. This is America. We are a land of opportunity.
Defensively, this is what you know. He's coming off a hot game and looking to keep it rolling.
Well, you want to...
Oh!
Oh, the ease with which he elevates Wiggins with a highlight move that time.
And that was Under Armour bringing you that replay. Unleash chaos. And what a play it was. And All-Star Week, a fan favorite, certainly, Doris. We all love it as broadcasters, as fans. But are there any changes you'd like to make in any event or the weekend overall?
Well, I think one thing that would be fascinating to me is to see the best players, for instance, the Klay Thompsons, the Steph Currys, those people, the best shooters in the league, participate in that particular three-point contest. Think back to Larry Bird when he walked in the locker room and said, who's coming in second tonight? Like, those are great. We can't get enough of our stars. I'd like to see the stars have to participate in at least one event, Kev.
Good thoughts. Both free throws good from Westbrook. Well, Doris, you've said this many times. Few players as competitive as Russell Westbrook in the league. He goes full speed from start to finish, and you get the feeling he would play the entire game if his coach let him.
What I love most about Russell Westbrook is how much this guy just loves to compete. And it's that mentality that allows him to take over games, even if things aren't falling his way. It's hard to think of a guy who wants to win more in the league.
Here's Wiggins. That's good. And so Teague with the assist. 13 points for Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, that's the third bucket in a row from the paint. This defense needs to clog those lanes in the middle.
Screen by Adams. Now here's Westbrook. Outside, George. Fader on the way. Hits the front of the rim and out. Minnesota's gone into a funk from downtown in the fourth. Only one of their 5 3-pointers has found the bottom of the bucket. Doris, I've heard you talk often about instituting a play clock from the very beginnings of someone learning the game of basketball.
Kevin, I think this is absolutely critical to the future of the game of basketball here in the United States, because the Europeans right now, from the formative stages, from the youngest someone picks up the game of basketball, play under duress of the shot clock. And the reason that's important is you must be a 3-tool player to play under duress of the shot clock, meaning you've got to be a triple threat. You've got to be able to pass it, dribble it, and shoot it. And to do that with the pressure of a shot clock leaning in on you from those earliest moments is significant. And I know I have the backing of guys like R.C. Buford and Rick Carlisle. They believe, more important than me, intelligent basketball people believe that in the United States, we must institute a shot clock from the time guys and young women pick up the game.
Jamal Crawford, he's checked in for Andrew Wiggins. And he sinks the second. Oklahoma City shooting has been dreadful lately, around 28% here in the fourth. Patterson, the screen. Here's Westbrook. Misses off the right iron.
Boy, that's just the kind of tight defense you need to play on him. Any kind of room at all, and he'll bury it.
Here's Crawford. The rebound by Patterson.
No doubt it's been a rough game for him. I don't think he's going to lose any sleep over it as long as they hang on to the lead the rest of the way.
And Westbrook gets it to go.
Listen, if you're open, Felton will find you. He has just such a great feel for the game.
T kicks to Towns. Butler on the wing. Back to Towns. Taken away by Felton. Teague against Westbrook. And it's Westbrook again missing. The Timberwolves shooting 40% in the fourth. Towns, the pass to Teague. Crawford against Felton. Towns sets the pick for Teague. Shoots over Adams. Another miss by Minnesota.
My goodness, get right in his grill and force him to alter the shot. That's tough defense in the post.
Out to the right wing. Outside Westbrook. And it's out of bounds. They say it was last touched by Towns. Minnesota making some changes. Gorgie Dangs checked in for Towns. Bielitsa comes in for Jimmy Butler. And Derrick Rose is subbed in for Teague. And then for Oklahoma City, Collison comes in for Adams. And it's Andre Robertson in for Russell Westbrook. .152 left in the fourth quarter. Minnesota's gone into a funk from downtown in the fourth. Only one of their 5 3-pointers has found the bottom of the bucket. Jang, a screen. There's Crawford with the 3. Great D that time from Collison. The Thunder shooting terribly up to this point, just 30%. Some ramshackle offense play there. Crawford with the steal.
Well, guys, this was never really a contest, just a total obliteration, if you will, and you can safely say mission accomplished now for the Timberwolves.
It was a standout performance across the board.
I mean, it was like watching a cat play with a mouse. They were able to do more or less whatever they wanted.
And so taking a look at their season record, this will be win number 31 on the year.
And they're going to bring this season series to an end with a very nice victory here today. These teams spent a lot of time on the floor together this year.
And as one might have guessed coming into this game, it was indeed another big game tonight for Karl Anthony Towns.
Boy, I think he made his presence felt in the paint more than anywhere else. This guy's rebounding numbers were outstanding. He controlled the glass.
I'll tell you what, the energy in this arena, you can feel it.
Oh, there's no doubt. This crowd is into it, and it's because of how well their guys have played tonight.
Grant gets a wide open look. And again, Oklahoma City, no good. Just 2 seconds between shot clock and game clock. And they can just dribble the ball until the buzzer.
Yeah, they got to be happy with the outcome.
Crawford kicks to Bielitsa. Jang dishes to Rose. 5 on the clock. From deep 3-point range, that one misses. And so it's the Timberwolves taking care of business here. This game may not have been the most exciting we've ever seen, but you have to appreciate just what a clinical performance they put on.
I know their fans appreciated it, and we saw at times just stretches of excellent defense. Potency from an offensive standpoint as well. They were pretty much dominant.
It's time now to go courtside as we send you over to David Aldridge from the sideline. David, take it away.
Thank you, Kevin. Now, Jimmy, you have not been shy about setting the bar high for this team defensively. Now, how do you think you did at that end tonight?
We did our thing tonight. We came out, put bodies on guys. Basketball is a game of runs, and they got some great scores, but in the end, we did what we were supposed to do.
You got the last run, and that's what matters. Thanks, Jimmy. Back to you, Kevin.
All right, David, thank you. And that's going to do it tonight, folks, for our broadcast. For Greg Anthony, Doris Burke, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.